All right, hey kids. Hopefully you could hear me pretty well. Hopefully you could see me. I wanted to express today what the zone 2 that we target sort of looks like. And maybe from being here with me over the next couple moments, you can maybe even get a feel for what our zone 2 wants to feel like. Now I'm roughly 35 minutes into this run. You know, we've talked about metrics, different ways we can measure what we perceive or what we think of as zone 2. But what it's also important is the perceived exertion, how you're feeling. Now you can notice I've got some ventilated breathing. I've got, fairly labored ability to talk, but I can talk. I'd rather not, but I can talk. But for you, I'm willing to suffer and talk. And so let's talk about my heart rate. My heart rate is currently at about 131. Now the zone 2 we're targeting is the upward range of most of your zone 2s, as your wearable tells you it is, and sort of also at the bottom range of that zone 3. And that's generally where I'll be. I'm currently climbing a hill here, this little bridge in Gilbert. So I'm having to push a little bit more. My heart rate's kind of pushing up, high 130s. That's all right. Generally, we'd want to keep our zone 2 as predictable, as steady, straight as possible. But you go out plugging away for 90 minutes to 2 hours, you're gonna run into some obstacles. And so what are these physiological adaptations? Got some happy folks coming up on the rear. First of all, what we're aiming to achieve here is this efficient heart pump per stroke so that I could meet a higher demand, right? Meet the higher muscular demand requiring more oxygen, more energy, but meet that higher demand with a lower heart rate. Well, if I could do more work with my musculoskeletal system and have a lower heart rate, meanwhile, I'm likely going to experience that work in a less intense manner. So that's huge. Left ventricle stroke volume is mega important here. So another thing I like to factor in to these zone 2 runs, the metabolic adaptations. So on these runs, kids, I highly encourage you to take along with you some fuel. I've got some gel here I'm going to use. Pretty easy to put down. Here we go. You just take this one, bars of 100 calories by a company called Martin. I love it. Simple. Tastes like honey flavored jelly. Pretty good. Metabolic adaptations. Look, pushing into long duration challenges that requires a gastrointestinal health. So you notice what my body's doing now, pushing out sweat. The more heat my body generates over the course of this run, the more heat my body adapts to. It's gonna kind of get deeper into each cellular unit in my body. We're getting rid of a lot of this waste product that's been sitting around in our body for long periods of time. People talk about mitochondrial density, which is great. A lot of ATP production in the cell, which is great. But what's happening as a result of these long duration, what we call upper end zone 2 runs or bike rides, is we're squeegeeing the cellular complex, ridding those mechanical, because it's your cell within it, the subcellular processes that are very mechanical. So within all those mechanical operations, you want to clean it out, get all the gook out of the cogs of the cellular machinery so that you can continue doing what the cell does best, produce energy. We've talked about 2 things now on the production of energy: your metabolic adaptations we're aiming to achieve, as well as that left ventricle stroke volume, heart health. And so we can go a little bit farther into the system here, end capillary units, really talking now about both oxygen and gas, or particular CO2 here. Now, just to check, 'cause I'm checking my data here, I'm kind of relaxed. My pace has actually gone up about 7 miles an hour, about 8:30 pace. Heart rate's gone back down, about 128. And, I'll tell you, nourishing the body, hydrating the body while moving helps with a lot of that. Now, in the moment, I'm already kind of stressed out, right? Breathing heavy, heart rate's up. The last thing I want to do is fidget with my hands, open up water, pull stuff out, put trash, the trash from my food stuff back in my pocket or whatever. But spending about a minute, 90 seconds, hydrating, refueling, it really stabilizes physiology, helps psychologically as well. I feel better than I did 5 or so minutes ago, way better. So if 100 calories, 6 ounces, big drink of water could do that, take it. But talking about our end capillary units, our air gas exchange system, these end capillary units that push all the waste into the exit stream, so to speak. From that exit stream is where we get our exhalations. That's where we'll push a lot of our sweat out of our body there and releasing toxins and gases. So get better at exchanging oxygen in, whether in higher doses or more frequently or what have you, but also pushing out your gas, getting rid of the CO2, getting rid of a lot of the stuff that slows you down. Oh, it's over 5 mile mark here, cruising along. I have about another 6-7 miles to go, and there we go. Zone 2 running, cruising. And again, I'm not really listening to too much music. I could talk to you guys. This is probably better in terms of how to pass the time here than listening to music would be. Zone 2 running, folks. This is what it feels like. This is what it looks like. And we're cruising. So there it is. Just 3 things. There's left ventricle stroke volume. Talked about gastrointestinal health, how to convert stuff into energy. Talked about getting rid of a lot of the waste product from that conversion process and our end capillary units and our air gas exchange. But the 4th thing, sort of been ubiquitous through all this, is the mindset, the psychological framework through which I'm looking at all this stuff, right? Because I'm on a zone 2 run, I'm out here jogging, so are other people. But what's important to me, at least, is why the fuck I'm doing this. But I gotta be, from time to time, if not all the time, reminding myself why I'm out here doing this and uploading that mental software, right? Getting that ideation, that reminding of myself, and really reconstructing and altering the neurological hardware at the level of the brain from this ideation, from this style of thinking, and to some extent being in charge of the content of your mind, the content that's moving through your mind as you're going on these runs. Like I said, I'm almost 50 minutes in here. There's a lot of reasons. I've gone by a lot of reasons to stop. And so, you'll probably have a couple of reasons to not even stop and not even start. So remind yourself along the way why you're doing this shit, okay? There we go. Zone 2, what it looks like, what it feels like, what it be like. All right, team, go be great.